Hey, South Carolina's Math and History, and we're going to be taking a look at properties and operations. So in this video, we're going to explain and review the information that we have learned last year or the year before. But why? The reason is because every time you make a move in math, or every time you change something in math, like you have to divide this, or add this, or multiply this, every time you make a move, that move you just did has a name for it. For example, if you ever know who Bruce Lee is, he is famous for doing what's called a 1-inch punch. And that is a move that he does, but he barely moves, but he still knocks out his opponent. So yeah, every move you do in math has a name, and every move you do in Taekwondo, for example, has a name as well. For example, if we have like 10 plus 17, that is going to be the same thing as saying 10. For example, if we have 10 plus 17, that is going to be the same thing as saying 17 plus 10, because 10 plus 17 is 27, and the same thing with the other one. We call this the commutative property, or commutative property. It means any number that you can add with, like 10, 17, if you switch the numbers, the answer will never change. And that also works with 10 multiplied by 7 is going to be the same thing as 7 multiplied by 10. They're both going to equal 70. So when you do multiplying and addition, if you switch the numbers, your answer will never change. That's the commutative property. The reason why we're doing this is because some high schools may be strict about proving things. Because when you solve a problem, you're like, awesome, yeah! But they also ask people, how did you get this answer? Can you prove how you got this answer? So this is going to be an opening review of what we call the moves that we do in mathematics. Another one we can do is the associative property. So what we can do is have 50 plus 3 plus 100. We have 3 numbers that we have to add, but we have parentheses over the 50 and the 3. What we can do is actually remove the parentheses to say 3 and 100 are actually inside the parentheses. If we do that and we move the parentheses, the sum that we add is actually going to stay the same. So this has a little bit of relativity, or it actually relates to the cumulative property, but instead you're moving the parentheses because you gotta do what's inside the parentheses first. 53, 100, that's 153. And with this one, 103 and 50, 153. This also works with multiplication, because if you have the same thing like 50 times 3 times 100, and you have parentheses right here, if you move the parentheses to 3 and 100, for example, the product will never change. So the commutative property is definitely going to relate to the associative property. You're associating these two numbers with this number. Adding and multiplying can work for the two moves that we do, commutative property and the associative property. Now, let's use the distributive property. So with the distributive property, we can actually multiply more than one or two numbers at the same time. Like 3 is going to have parentheses with x plus 5 minus 2. So what we're going to do is have that 3 multiplied by everything in the parentheses. And when we do that, we got 3x plus 15 minus that by 6. See how we multiplied all the numbers in the parentheses at the same time? So this is actually going to be really helpful in algebra. The distributive property. When you're doing 3 multiplied by all the numbers inside the parentheses, or a number multiplying by how many numbers are in the parentheses, it's pretty much like the 3 is trying to attack all the numbers in the parentheses. Like, the parentheses are, okay, target acquired, 3, attack!